Moors did to Drew Ali. I'm going at dirty rappers, lynching dirty Moors too. Hiding literature that Drew wrote to warn you. They claim to make you Muslim and make you sovereign. With paperwork and filings, if fiat they robbing. They don't care about his words, throw it out like garbage. Or throw it at you when you're active, not passive. When they wanna talk a bounce like off a trampoline mattress. Treat them like a vamp or a teen actress. Get stamped with the brand like a mean savage. This Inquisition divine, all others average. Millennium Renaissance, heroes in our classes. Fed up with the czar controlling fascists. Ask if they heard about Moors, they say no. But Masons, they obviously know. Down to handshakes and rituals with skull and bones. They even know about owls burning Bohemian Grove. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. Dirty Moors killed Drew. I read the FBI papers on loyal Moors, emergency fund rapers, Moorish literature and divine bylaw changes. Might as well say Drew Ali was born in a manger. Prophet pushed poison aside and his food smelled danger. Got me treating every Moor like a stranger. Grand Chic Punkin stumbling drunk in their fez. What was proclaimed for every meeting was not read. Some Moors are so active, Prophet can't be dead. Thanks Moorish teachers away, I can't be led. Actions speak, then I consider what's said. And what's said was study, then study yourself. Honest to the Prophet noble Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. Everybody wants to be just like Drew Ali, but nobody wants to care about Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what dirty Moors did.
It's very important for people to know the real history, because not to know the real history, you must know world history and European history, and you must dismiss the black and white game. If you don't, you're already in the trap. You're in the matrix.
And now I'm in this book is the Encyclopedia Britannica, a dictionary of arts, sciences, literature, and general information. This is the 11th edition. Volume 18, Metal to Mumps, all right, the words in between those. This is from 1911, all right, University Press, Cambridge, all right. Copyright of the United States of America, 1911, by the Encyclopedia Britannica Company, all right. And we're on page 812 of this book, all right, Moors. We get to the word Moors, it's right here. Moors, and we're going to zoom in. And it says here, Moors. It says Latin Mori, Greek Malpoi, or my boy, dark man.
Read number 32 for the Aborigines that hate Ahanu the Moor, or Hanu El, or AKA a Tanchless one.
Let me hold on.
You want me to read it for you? The term,
you might do it more justice. I want to,
The term Moor was applied to any dark-skinned, brown-skinned, or reddish-brown-skinned people who were not only indigenous to Europe, but West and North Africa. It's saying, but Black Indians of the Western Hemisphere was dubbed with this title. So if all Moors is from North Africa, why would they dub it to people here?
And it says here, Moors. It says Latin Mori, Greek Malpoi, or my boy, dark man.
And just to make sure, if you study etymology, there was no fucking North Africa in 711 when you claim the Moors went into Europe. That's why I keep telling people, don't research. They get caught up in all this shit they hear other people say, and they don't do no research for themselves. And then when you hear other people say, you still want to argue it. This man wrote this book right here. Damn, man, P. Kanyan or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And he's a researcher. And I've been telling people this shit for years, but everybody come at me. If I say anything about anything, everybody hate and that's what it is, man, because people don't research. You listen to other people and you don't research. They've been telling you it was a synonym for Negro or applied to any dark-skinned person. It ain't got nothing to do with MSTA or Drew Ali, and I've been telling people that for years.
The name which, as at present used, is loosely applied to any native of Morocco. All right? A native of Morocco, not America.
Is Bashar, and he also knows that North America is known as Al-Maghrib Al-Aqsa.
Of course, I know that. North America was known as Al-Maghrib Al-Aqsa, and it reported to the Sultan of Morocco. And there was a relation. This is why I needed to ask you, what's the relation between the first, colonials and the governors of Morocco, because they communicated, because on paper it was part of Greater Morocco. That's known.
That's known.
So again, if the Muslims were here, then they would have probably come into the Native American tribes without dislodging Native American culture. And there are Cherokee Muslims, I know some, who say that this was the reality in the Cherokees. One brother that I know, his grandmother was from the Wolf tribe of the Cherokees, which is the shaman tribes. They're the ones with the spiritual seekers. And he said that his grandmother told him, and I trust him to be speaking the truth, that Islam was in the Cherokees, but they wouldn't tell white people. And whenever white people asked about the religion, they give them the old Cherokee religion, because the Native Americans have a rich tradition in this land and in the United States. And, again, if you begin to bring things from Native America into your culture, which you can do easily, because if you look at the way that Sequoyah, the great Cherokee chieftain, dressed, he dressed like I'm dressed right now. He wore turbans like this. Always, what's behind that? And we can talk about that later. And you look at the rugs, you look at the dress of Sequoyah. If I were to come into this room dressed like Sequoyah, the great Cherokee chieftain, you would think I was a Muslim. Look at his leggings. Look at the Cherokee women. They covered look at the Apaches. And the Spanish believed the Apaches were doing jihad in the 18th century. The Spanish discovered mosques everywhere they went in America. When Cortez goes into Mexico City, as many of you have heard, he said, I found muchas mezquitas, y teocallis, y muchas casas grandes. I found many mosques and many pagan temples and many big houses, beautiful houses. Pizarro, these other, the same thing. What is that legacy? You dig into it. We can bring it out. If you had Native American rugs here, you would think they were from Afghanistan.
But in its stricter sense, only to the townsmen of mixed descent. In this sense, it is also used of the Mohammedan townsmen in the other Barbary states. All right? It has been by some connected with the Hebrew and Phoenician Mahur, Western. More is a Western.
The Western Hemisphere is a geographical term for the half of the Earth that lies west of the prime meridian, which crosses Greenwich, UK, and east of the antimeridian, the other half being called the Eastern Hemisphere. In this sense, the Western Hemisphere consists of the Americas, the western portions of Europe and Africa, the extreme eastern tip of Russia, numerous territories in Oceania, and a portion of Antarctica, while excluding some of the Aleutian Islands to the southwest of the Alaskan mainland. In an effort to define the Western Hemisphere as the parts of the world which are not part of the Old World, There also exist projections which use the 20th meridian west and the diametrically opposed 160th meridian east to define the hemisphere.
But they tell you straight up, the term Moors has no real ethnological value. All right.
Indigenous Black Celtics, or as many say, Celtics, Indigenous Black Britons, Indigenous Black Portuguese, and Indigenous Black Spaniards, all also known as Moors.
He's an ass. And he's dumb. He's a dumbass.
So I just want to leave you with that. All right, so just to continue with the video and the lesson, this presentation, let's get more in depth with who Noble Drew Ali was and what works is out there regarding his information. So I was able to find, two books in the archive website, and both of them are written by Herbert H. Booker. All right, so this one is The Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple Movement. All right, again by Herbert Booker II, editor Joseph E. Holloway, a New World African Press publication in association with L.C. May Enterprises. All right, and I also have this other book right here. All right, this is Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America, same title, right? This is from 1997, and again, they're going to show you a college degree here from the California State University. All right, and it says the trustees of the California State University, on recommendation of the faculty of California University Norwich, have conferred upon Herbert Hillary Booker II the degree of Master of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies. All right, so that's his master's degree. Herbert Walker from the California State University. Again, this is the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is a thesis submitting partial fulfillment of the requirements for the degree of Master of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies by Herbert Hillary Booker. All right, and it says in parentheses, Rakid Booker, Bay. You see that? Bay. 97. The thesis of Herbert A. Booker is approved. All right, so this was his thesis. All right, so we're gonna get into this book and the other book. So first, I want to go ahead and get into this book real quick. We'll come back to it. And I just want to read this part right here. It says the editor's introductory essay. Now it says, despite immense influences that the Noble Drew Ali had on black nationalism and black nationalistic movements in North America, we know little about him because the details of his life are sketchy and incomplete. As a result of this lack of information, the Noble Drew Ali remains one of the most mystifying figures in all of African American history. All right, this monograph provides information not readily available to the general public. All right, it's gonna read some things that we can't really find, and explores most of the available documents on this mysterious person and the things that we can. By using the shotgun approach, a web of information begins to emerge, but a web of information not connected to any firm foundation. It offers much insight, but no strong conclusion on the life and times of the Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali, the man, the prophet, and his mission. Pardon me. Noble Drew Ali, a man who made his entrance into the world on the 8th day of January 1886, was an extraordinary individual endowed with vision, purpose, and love for humanity. At the age of 27 in 1913, he formed the Moorish movement in America, later to be named Moorish Science Temple of America, INC, in Newark, New Jersey, to uplift fallen humanity by returning the nationality, divine creed, and culture to persons of Moorish descent in the Western Hemisphere. In succeeding years, Noble Drew Ali moved to Chicago, Illinois, organizing in 1925 as the Moorish Temple of Science. He later established a national headquarters, and in November 1926, incorporated a civic organization in the state of Illinois. This was later changed on July 20th, 1928, at a special meeting to a religious corporation known as the Moorish Science Temple of America, and registered in the Cook County Office of Records and Deeds, August 1st, 1928. The purpose and goal of the Moorish movement were articulated by Noble Drew Ali in the September 14, 1928 edition of his national weekly publication, The Moorish Guide, when he indicated that it was building on human needs to dispense charity and provide for the mutual assistance of its members in times of distress, aid in the improvement of health, and encourage the ownership of better homes, find employment for members, and teach those fundamental principles which are desired for our civilization.
And it's talking about the Noble Drew Ali early life. All right, so just like this book kind of drew a little history of the Moors, right, historically, and whatever else was not available, he had to break that kind of down to understand why, the importance of why Noble Drew Ali was, letting people know about the Moorish history, and there was a Moorish history, right? Whatever you would consider Moorish, these people that were in this time invading Spain, and what these Almoravids, Almohadis, and these different sects and these different people, Berbers, right? That we already know most of these people seem to have come out of Canaan, right? The place where the Promised Land was, and we correlate to that being here in America. All right, so there's a whole deep history here that Noble Drew Ali seems to have been influenced by, that he knew some way through his life, where he grew up, his teachings, he came across this information, and he wanted to tell it to everybody. It's just that it just seems that he had a specific intention with it, this information, and how he wanted to portray it and bring it out to people. So I'm not going to say much more other than that. Let's just read, what's written and what he said himself. We already know he said, "You are the ancient Moabites and Canaanites that came out of Canaan, that were driven out by Joshua." He already said that. All right, so let's get a little bit more information. It says, the Noble Drew Ali early life, according to a privately published essay by Ravana Bey of the Moorish Academy of Chicago. All right, look into that. The Noble Drew Ali's father was said to have been a Moorish extraction. So what does that mean? And his mother of Cherokee ancestry, Cherokee. All right.
You dumb fuck!
Now, this is what Prophet Noble Drew Ali goes on to say, and what people don't know is that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was not just Cherokee, in which that was his father's side, which showed forth his indigenous-ship, and his father's name was John Drew, or John Quitman Drew. Hence the reason why he used the Drew name. But even more important was his mother, because the tie to the land comes through the mother bloodline, and his mother was Eliza Turner, or Tunica, who was Washita, and she's part of the landmark case, the heirs of Henry Turner versus the United States, in which that the United States lost in the United States Supreme Court. Article 3 court, that is. We're not talking about Article 2 and Article 1 courts, in which that individuals nowadays want to utilize in order to try to downplay the Washita. But we're talking about actual Article 3 court cases in which that the heirs of Henry Turner showed forth that the Washita proper, misnomer Louisiana proper, was never purchased. So there is no such thing as a Louisiana purchase. The only thing in which that was purchased by, or was attempted to be purchased by Thomas Jefferson, was the barracks in New Orleans and some streets. One particular street is Bourbon Street, in which that where they have the Mardi Gras annually now. These were the only streets, well, the streets and the barracks, the military barracks, and it was going to be $15 million in gold to be shipped to France up under Napoleon Bonaparte. But I think it was 11,750,000 in gold, in which that reached Napoleon. But the deal was $15 million in gold. So come to find out, $3,250,000 in gold sunk beneath the ocean floor off the coast of Florida, and he never received it. So hence, service was never rendered, and hence those barracks and streets, even in New Orleans, was never purchased. And the rest of the land was never part of the land deal anyway. It was fraudulent, and Thomas Jefferson knew of the fraudulent land deal at the time. And according to Empress Vodiasi Gaston Turnell Bay, she have stated that in articles, in newspaper articles, and in video, that it was a fraudulent land deal. And come to find out that Noble Drew Ali, he states that Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he states that I am the fifth and the last prophet, and I am 5 times more powerful than I was before. Now that's interesting, because when you look up Henry Turner, or Henry Joseph Turner, who became the recipient of the 1762 and 1795 Imperial Spanish land grants, and he was the third Marquis de Maison Rouge, you find out that the eldest daughter of the son of Henry Joseph Turner estate, you have Frederick and Frankie, which was the Empress Vodiasi Gaston Turner L. Bay's mother and father, and then Vodiasi was married to John Gaston, who was the son of Coretta Turner, who was the daughter of Eliza Turner, and the sister of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Now, Eliza is the mother of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and she was part of that landmark case that we're talking about, and Eliza is the daughter of Sarah Tunica and Henry Joseph Turner. All right? And Noble Drew Ali was the 5th Marquis de Maison Rouge. So he was the 5th prince, the crown prince of the actual land in which that is part of this vast estate, in which that is spoken of within the Moor Science Temples of America, spoken of by the Washita and many other indigenous groups. And this is what is not told. Right, you had the United States Supreme Court case number 31 and 191 of 1948, United States versus the heirs of Henry Turner, affirms that the estate of the Washita, which is actually over 68,883 acres of land, constituting the north half of the present state of Louisiana. The land is the personal and private property heir to the 1795 Spanish land grant, Maison Rouge. And it just goes on, and you can get this information from The Return of the Ancient Ones, written by the Empress Vodiasi Tunica, Washita Gaston L. Bay, as well as also in my book, The First World Order, in which that we go into in-depth detail about these connections. Now, the Emperor spoke about 30 million acres of land in which that stretch all the way from Florida along the 13 states, all the way up into Canada, the whole of Canada. So all the way from Florida, all the way to Louisiana, parts of Texas, all the way up into what is called on the other side of the Rocky and Allegheny, all of that land, all the way up into Canada. Canaanland is actually the land of the Watchtower, some 30 million acres and more.
By the early 1880s, Ravana Bey claims the Drew family settled in Newark, New Jersey, where they met and studied with the master adept Jamal al-Adin al-Afghani, you see? 1838 to 1897 is when he lived, who visited the United States in the winter of 1882 and 1883. According to him, the Druze were not only initiated into the Salafaya, Afghani's political reform movement, but also into the Brethren of Purity, the Ikhwan al-Safa. The noble Drew Ali was born Timothy Drew on January 8, 1886. Alright? Timothy Drew, a Capricorn. Timothy Drew in North Carolina, a child of former slaves who lived among the Cherokee Indians and who are said to have adopted him. Now you see this? You see this craziness? So now all of a sudden he's adopted, right? So he's not these people's son now all of a sudden.
In law, acquiescence occurs when a person knowingly stands by without raising any objection to the infringement of their rights, while someone else unknowingly and without malice aforethought makes a claim on their rights. Consequently, the person whose rights are infringed loses the ability to make a claim against the infringer, or succeed in an injunction suit due to the infringer's conduct.
Among the Cherokee Indians. So we dodged all the hijacks here, right? Because we kind of broken down what was really going on in actual history in these times when we're talking about Indian people owning slaves and who these slaves really were. You know, were these really Africans or other American Indian slaves?
OCO, I am proud to announce that the Cherokee Nation and the state of Oklahoma have agreed on an expanded card tag compact. This historic agreement will provide access to tribal license plates to all Cherokees in Oklahoma. I am proud that our nation will now allow every citizen across all 77 counties to display a Cherokee tag on their car or recreational vehicle. The new compact was successfully negotiated by the Cherokee Nation Attorney General with the Governor's Office. I thank our Attorney General, Todd Hembry, for leading the way for us in these complicated issues. We are strengthening our sovereignty, creating more jobs, and lowering the cost of car tags for thousands of Cherokees. Wado.
So now we don't know what he is because now he's just an adopted person.
Dumbass!
So the first one of the things that you have to do is to begin to dissolve in your mind the fictions and then begin to deal with the realities. The reality is that this is one broad and expanded human family that's broken down into broader families that are called nationalities. Once you took that game when the sociologists started creating the race game in order to start to divide the people so they could rob them, and you take that as an information base and you go from that on any point, whether you're dealing with law, government, etc., you're already wrong. It is no different than if I say, well, let's give you a mathematical problem, and we're going to give you 3 columns of numbers, whether it's addition, subtraction, multiplication. We're not going to argue that. I'm going to give you 3 columns of numbers. Then I don't tell you that one column is written in invisible ink. You'll never get, your outcome will never be right. You understand?
dreamy and drooling, falling for the fooling. Mental slaves sell out or get bought out for cooning. Being your example to follow with no strain. Meant means mind, so govern and entertain is more than you imagine. Carbon is melanin, Quran and Bible angels are cherubim and seraphim. Riding on the light angles, traveling at warp speed. We created crossbreeds, now we can't walk free. The mind is the plantation, everything is mental. Even filling your brother with lead like a pencil. Mercenaries with chalk use bodies as a stencil. If rival gangs won't stop you, barbed wire fence will. It could take more, but it might take less. Cursing your God on Job's, cash in the fake checks. Spending fake monopoly money, counterfeit at best. When you see something is wrong, you need to counter it best as you can. You don't need a magic wand or to click your heels twice to escape dreamland. Just use your mind. If you can't relate, you're living in an illusion, slave to the dream state. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by the shoulders, waking from their dream state. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by their shoulders, waking from their dream state. Invasion. Drew Ali, my water when the fire starts blazing. Running with the holy buckets, the Caucasian. While Asiatics daydreaming, mental stargazing. Not paying attention, but paying taxes and fines. Nas said the world is yours, he really meant mine. If I ruled the world, you wouldn't want to be black. You wouldn't want to be a deadbeat dad or be whacked for sure. You wouldn't want to be the dirty moral leader, convicted and facing my firing squad either. You won't be put in a box, forget the cedar. Taking tires off cars at unexpired meters. If I ruled the world, dirty Moors would hate it. Find them with their wrists slit in bathrooms naked. Find them holding scimitar handles slumped over with suicide notes to Jehovah. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by the shoulders, waking from their dream state. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by their shoulders, waking from their dream state. Dream a little dream, wake up from the nightmare. Dream a big dream, live your life in fright, scared to change. When everything that grows must do such or stay stagnant. Living your life as a pageant, made up faces with eyeliner and makeup, created by the same ones you call racist. Wake up, allow their dignity and exercise patience. Don't shock them too hard with electrifying statements. Everything cloudy, mind acting rowdy, hypnotized by Pied Piper, signing rap ungodlies. Having so much influence, youths won't pull their pants up, looking like a jailbird, begging for some handcuffs. In a dream state, getting grands up for freedom. Fiat is a slave to banks, you better see him. No different than the people are slaves to brand names. Move from dream to reality, change the landscape. He started from the top, don't listen to your man Drake. Only till clan hates and Masonic handshakes don't work. Moors are back, do your homework and assignments. Realize Moorish is the science. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by the shoulders, waking from their dream state. If you just heard about Drew Ali, don't think he's late. He brought nationality and link back to your East state. As Negro and black, we act like we can't see straight. Shaken by their shoulders, waking from their dream state.
Thank you.